There are people who destroy every relationship they enter. People who always become the victim. People who manipulate without even realizing it. People who push others away, then cry about loneliness. And maybe the most terrifying part is, sometimes those people are us. Not because we are evil, but because most human beings are unconscious. We think we are talking honestly. We think we are loving honestly. We think we are living honestly. But according to psychiatrist Berne, human beings spend most of their lives playing psychological games. Invisible games. Emotional games. Games designed to get attention, avoid rejection, escape responsibility, control others, protect the ego, hide emotional wounds. And these games quietly destroy relationships, happiness, self-worth, intimacy, peace. This book is not comfortable because it forces you to see the hidden truth behind human behavior, why people manipulate, why people sabotage themselves, why toxic relationships repeat, why some people always suffer, and why most conversations are not as innocent as they seem. Tonight, you are not just listening to a book summary. You are entering the hidden psychological world behind human interaction. And after this video, you will never see people the same way again. Part 1. Human beings are starving. Most people believe hunger means food, but Berne says humans suffer from another kind of hunger, emotional hunger. The hunger to be seen, recognized, loved, acknowledged. A baby needs touch to survive, love, attention, warmth. Without emotional connection, the child slowly begins collapsing psychologically. And even after we grow older, that need never disappears. Adults simply learn to hide it better. Think about it. Why do people constantly check their phones? Why do likes and messages feel addictive? Why does rejection hurt so deeply? Why do people stay in toxic relationships? Because human beings are terrified of emotional invisibility, the fear of not mattering, the fear of being forgotten, the fear that nobody truly cares. This is why some people tolerate disrespect, why some stay with abusive partners, why some constantly seek attention online, why some people become addicted to validation. Because deep inside, they are starving emotionally. And once you understand this, human behavior suddenly starts making sense. Part 2. The most lonely people are often the loudest. Some people never stop talking, never stop posting, never stop showing themselves to the world. But often, the loudest people are the loneliest, because attention is not the same as connection. You can have thousands of followers, hundreds of messages, endless conversations, and still feel emotionally empty. Because what humans truly crave is not attention, it is genuine understanding, and that is rare. Most people don't want to be understood. They want to be emotionally fed. They want reassurance, validation, recognition, approval. That's why many conversations feel fake, because people are not listening to understand. They are listening to protect their ego, to defend themselves, to prove themselves right, to feel superior, to feel important. And slowly, human relationships become emotional transactions instead of authentic connections. Part 3. The 3 people living inside you. Berne introduces one of the most powerful psychology concepts ever written. Inside every human being, there are 3 personalities: the parent, the adult, and the child. And most people spend their entire lives switching between them unconsciously. The parent. The parent is the voice you inherited from parents, teachers, religion, society, culture. It judges, controls, criticizes, commands. This voice says, Be better. Don't fail. People are watching. You are embarrassing yourself. Real men don't cry. Good girls behave properly. Some people become prisoners of this voice. They cannot relax, cannot feel enough, cannot feel worthy, because the parent inside them constantly attacks them. And sometimes, that same voice gets projected onto others. They criticize everyone, judge everyone, control everyone, not because they are strong, but because they are emotionally wounded. The child. The child is emotional, sensitive, creative, fearful, needy, jealous, playful, broken. This is the version of you that still remembers rejection, abandonment, humiliation, loneliness. Many adults look mature outside, but emotionally, they are still children begging for love. A man becomes obsessed with success because as a child he felt worthless. A woman tolerates disrespect because as a child she learned love must be earned. Someone becomes aggressive because deep inside they feel powerless. Someone constantly seeks attention because they grew up emotionally ignored. The child never disappears. It simply hides inside adult behavior. And most people never heal that child. They simply become older. The adult. The adult is calm, logical, present, aware. It sees reality clearly, without emotional distortion, without ego, without manipulation. But here's the tragedy. Most humans rarely operate from the adult state. Instead, their wounded child reacts emotionally, while the parent criticizes and controls. And this creates emotional chaos, which becomes psychological games. Part 4. Most people are acting. This part is disturbing, because Berne explains that many human interactions are performances, not authentic communication. Performances. People wear masks constantly: the confident mask, the victim mask, the perfect relationship mask, the I don't care mask, the strong mask, the successful mask. And after years of pretending, many people no longer know who they really are. That's why some people panic when they are alone, because silence removes distraction, and suddenly they are forced to face themselves, their fears, their emptiness, their unresolved pain. That is why many people constantly need noise, drama, attention, stimulation, relationships, conflict, because stillness exposes truth. Part 5. The most dangerous game. One of the darkest ideas in this book is that people unconsciously create suffering. Not consciously, emotionally. A person repeatedly chooses toxic partners, gets hurt, cries, feels betrayed, then repeats the same cycle again. Why? Because pain became familiar, predictable, comfortable. Some people grew up in emotional chaos, so peace feels strange to them. Love feels suspicious. Healthy relationships feel boring, and emotional suffering feels normal. This is heartbreaking, because many people don't actually chase happiness. They chase emotional familiarity, even if it destroys them. Part 6. Yes, but. This game is everywhere. Someone asks for help. You sincerely try helping them, but every solution gets rejected. Try therapy. Yes, but it's expensive. Start working on yourself. Yes, but I'm too tired. Leave the toxic relationship. Yes, but I still love them. Eventually, you realize something terrifying. They do not want solutions. They want emotional permission to stay stuck. And many people spend their whole lives doing this, complaining, suffering, repeating, because healing requires responsibility, and responsibility is painful. It destroys excuses. It destroys victim identity. It forces change, and change terrifies people. Part 7. Love is often confused with attachment. This may hurt to hear, but many relationships are not built on love. They are built on fear. Fear of loneliness, fear of abandonment, fear of being alone with oneself. So people stay together, while resenting each other, while emotionally exhausted, while secretly unhappy. Because emotional dependency feels safer than loneliness. Some couples fight every week for years. Same arguments, same pain, same emotional wounds. Because conflict itself becomes addictive. The chaos becomes familiar, and the relationship slowly transforms into a psychological game. Not love, a game. Part 8. People manipulate without realizing it. This is what makes the book terrifying. Most manipulation is unconscious. People guilt trip unconsciously, control unconsciously, seek attention unconsciously, create drama unconsciously. A person becomes cold suddenly, just to see if you chase them. Someone posts indirectly online, hoping a specific person reacts. Someone says, "Forget it," while secretly wanting you to beg them to explain. Humans constantly test each other emotionally, and most people don't even realize they are doing it. Part 9. Social media turned human insecurity into a business. Berne wrote this decades ago, but somehow, this book predicted modern life perfectly. Today, people compete for attention constantly. Validation became currency. Everyone wants to be seen, to matter, to feel important, and social media rewards emotional performance. People fake happiness, fake confidence, fake luxury, fake relationships, because being admired feels emotionally addictive. And slowly, people stop asking, "What is real?" They only ask, "What gets attention?" Part 10. The saddest truth. The saddest truth in this book is this: most people never truly know themselves. They only know their survival patterns, their emotional defenses, their trauma reactions, their psychological games. A person says, "This is just how I am," but often, that is not personality. It is pain, a defense mechanism repeated for years. And once you realize this, you begin seeing humanity differently. You stop seeing bad people and start seeing wounded people, broken people, emotionally unconscious people, people desperately trying to protect themselves from pain, even if it destroys their lives. Final ending, deep emotional close. Maybe after tonight, you will start noticing these games everywhere. In your relationships, in your family, at work, online, and maybe, for the first time, inside yourself. Maybe you will realize how many conversations were never honest, how many people were secretly lonely, how many smiles were hiding pain, how many relationships were built on fear instead of love. And maybe that realization will hurt, because awareness is painful. But awareness is also freedom. The moment you see the game, you stop being controlled by it. You stop reacting automatically. You stop begging for validation. You stop repeating emotional cycles that destroy your peace. And maybe, for the first time in your life, you begin becoming real. Not perfect, not emotionless, but conscious, aware, authentic. Because the greatest tragedy is not being hated, or rejected, or abandoned. The greatest tragedy is living your entire life unconsciously, without ever realizing the invisible games controlling your mind. This was Beyond the Pages, and if this video opened your eyes, subscribe, because the next book may completely change the way you see yourself.